Episode 21 of Wasteland Weaponistics, the Magnum Research Desert Eagle. The Desert Eagle has appeared in Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, and Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, making it one of the most prevalent weapons in the Fallout series that has not appeared in a modern Fallout game. The Desert Eagle is a large autoloading handgun dating from the late 1970s that has gained much notoriety from the various movies, TV shows, and video games it has been featured in over the decades. However, the Desert Eagle was not the first of its kind, nor the only large caliber autoloader to exist. The idea of a very large, powerful, semi-automatic pistol dates back to the early 1900s with the most British man to ever be British, Hugh Gabbett Fairfax, and his Mars pistol, which he desperately tried to get adopted by the British military. They didn't adopt it as it had way too much recoil for them. This pistol sadly never went anywhere after that, and the idea of the large Magnum semi-auto died with it for nearly 80 years. That was until two events started to get popular: metallic silhouette shooting competitions and handgun hunting. You see, in metallic silhouette shooting competitions, you have to knock over these animal-shaped metallic plates with a pistol. So having a very large pistol lets you do it in fewer shots. And with handgun hunting, you're going to want rifle-like performance out of a handgun. At first, the only choices in firearms for these two sports were weird rifle handgun hybrids or large bore revolvers. Starting in the 70s and through the 80s is when we start to see the Magnum semi-autos come back onto the scene, with guns like the Automag, the Wild E Survivor, the Coonan 357, the Lar Grizzly, and the Desert Eagle. Each chambered in super powerful handgun rounds like 45 Win Mag, 44 Magnum, 9mm Magnum, and 50 Action Express, among many other rounds. However, most of these designs seem to have died by the 90s, except the Coonan 357 and the Desert Eagle, which have continued to be manufactured to this day, with the Desert Eagle being much more popular than the Coonan. So, the Desert Eagle is a very popular handgun in the real world. Now, how is it doing in the Fallout universe? Fallout lore states this: an ancient Desert Eagle pistol in 44 Magnum. Interest in late 20th century films made this one of the most popular handguns of all time. According to this, the Desert Eagle was as popular in pre-war movies as it is in our timeline. However, the Desert Eagle has a really weird place in the Fallout universe, being in every Interplay era Fallout game, but is not in any of the Bethesda era Fallout games. Now, the 10mm pistol from Fallout 3 and New Vegas is heavily based on the Desert Eagle, but it's not a true Desert Eagle. In Fallout 1, that can be found being used by a variety of characters and factions. Several merchant bodyguards carry them. Garl Deathhand, leader of the Great Khans during this era, has one of them, and even the Brotherhood of Steel scribes can have a Desert Eagle from time to time. Fallout 2, again, we see a variety of characters all have the Desert Eagle, from raider gangs to NCR policemen. Moving to the Midwest wasteland of Fallout Tactics, we find the Desert Eagle being sold by the Midwest Brotherhood of Steel and carried by the psychic tribals known as the Beast Lords. We go finally to Fallout Brotherhood of Steel and the Texas Wasteland. Now remember, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel is the only 100% non-canon Fallout game. It's the only Fallout to ever be removed from canon. So everything from here to about the end of the video is non-canon. In the Texas Wasteland, you can buy the Desert Eagle from the traveling merchant, Jesse. The dual Desert Eagles, the special version of the Desert Eagle in Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, are dropped by one of the bosses of the game, Jane, the Raider Matron. Jane is an interesting character, being the leader of a female-dominated raider gang. She's dressed in 90s/early 2000s skimpy black leather and makes no attempt to cover her figure. She dual wields Desert Eagles while running in high heels. If you don't get it, there's a gag here. She has a very large chest, and she dual wields pistols that start with the letter D. Double D, which if you don't know, that's the size of a woman's bra. It's a boob joke. She's a boob joke. Fun fact, Jane is voiced by Vanessa Marshall, who has voiced many different characters in cartoons, movies, and other video games, like Black Canary in Young Justice, Hera Syndulla from Rebels, Dr. Strangelove from Metal Gear Solid, and many, many more. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel is the last time we see the Desert Eagle in a Fallout game. In fact, the only reason it was in Fallout to begin with was because of Chris Taylor. A quote of his about the Desert Eagle in Fallout. "The gun choices in Fallout 1 were 90% mine. I felt that weapon technology would have developed differently in the Fallout universe after the split with our timeline, so I tried to make less of the weapons real world. The two exceptions that he can remember are the Desert Eagle 44 and the 9mm Mauser broom handle. The Desert Eagle was my favorite gun at the time, and I had to include it. The Mauser broom handle has appeared in a Bethesda game. It's appeared in Fallout 3. However, the Desert Eagle has not appeared in any Bethesda-era Fallout game. Like I said before, the 10mm pistol is about as close as we get. Because the Desert Eagle has never appeared in any Bethesda Fallout game, there are no unique versions of it. Whether or not we'll see the Desert Eagle in a future Fallout game, I can't say. Bethesda generally does not like adding in late Cold War weapons, and tends to stick more to World War II or early Cold War when adding in real-life guns. One can hope that it will be added to Fallout 76 in a future expansion, as it would make a great weapon for the few pistol builds out there. That's going to be it for this video. Subscribe to this channel as well as my main channel, Trooper Fofo, for Fallout and other post-apocalyptic games.